that if there are any Q&As, we have time left over. We got people
Yeah.
jumping with questions. All right, awesome.
Okay.
And I'm going to share this so they can watch the full episode for your podcast to drive traffic to your podcast.
All right. Awesome.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Welcome back to the Successful Stylist Academy podcast. I'm your host, Ambrosia Carey. We are going to be talking about business, finance, all the things in our business that we can do to thrive and live that harmonious life. So I have Nick Mirabella with me for the second time around, and I'm probably sure not the last time around, but we're going to be talking about just the ways that we've been integrating different pillars within our business. And we are going to, basically hear from Nick what he's been doing leading up to today, and maybe even just some things that he's doing moving in the future. Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me back. It's been
I'm glad that you're
it's been
here.
what, a few months?
I'm watching you from afar, so it's been really great to see what you've been developing, but also what you've been contributing to the community. So just hats off to you.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Yeah, so end of quarter 2024. It was a fun year. Like I went deep with my coaching business. And it's funny because when you focus on one thing, you neglect other areas of your life and your business. And like my salons were feeling the pain. And it was like, you know what, where do I want to direct my attention to for the end of the quarter? And obviously, like I'm always on like this never ending cycle of continually trying to better myself in each different area. But unfortunately, you can't focus on all the areas. You got to focus on one. And so end of year, my goal, my 10X goal for myself, which I want my whole team to create, is I want to hire 100 new staff members in my salons. So in 90 days. Today's day 1.
90 days.
Yeah. And so it's like, who do I need to become and what needs to be true in my life in order to make that a reality? And it's like, all right, so I can't approach it like I want to hire 5 because that's simple. It doesn't really change who I am. It doesn't stress me. It doesn't put enough pressure on me to change my approach to achieve 100 new stylists. So it's like I'm coming at this in a completely different perspective. I need to change who I am as a leader, how I lead things, who my management team is, my whole process. And by doing so, by actually trying to get to the level that I need to be at to attract 100 new stylists, I dramatically kill who I am right now and what kind of leader I am. And so what needs to be true about my hiring process is going to dramatically change. So I'm literally going to crush the recruiting aspect of my business. And it's going to be a lot of marketing, a lot of ads, and a good amount of ad spend. But, let's say you spend $100 a day or $1,000 a day. If you bring in 100 new staff members at the end of that 90 days, the $1,000 a day in ad spend that I have spent for the previous 90 days, I'll recoup tenfold literally in the next 90 days. So I made a decision. I actually got myself into another coaching program, which this was my challenge. I had to really ask myself, what's going to be my 10X goal? And it came from a book by Ben Hardy. 10X is easier than 2X, I believe is the name of the book. It's something like that. But you can look him up, Benjamin Hardy. And he wrote Who, Not How, Your Future Self. And I'm really big in like 10X vision and 10X goals because like I said before, who I need to be with that 10X goal coming to fruition is not who I would have been if it was just 2X. I'm like, so I had to think 100 new clients in my coaching program. Like what would have the biggest impact in my life overall? Now, if I accomplish this goal, let's say I hit 90, right? I'm aiming for 100. I will have the blueprint and the framework that I can package up and give to every one of my clients in my coaching program of how I did this. And everyone who's part of my program is going to get the overflow. So I don't have enough salons to attract 100, right? But I'm affiliated with all the salons in my community. Like my coaching community, I'll give 5 here, 10 here, 3 there, 2 there. And just by default, like I will raise my whole entire community, like leaps and bounds. So that's my end of year goal. And so now my team, like I hit them up with, because I did a whole program, a couple different pieces of curriculum in my community about your 10X vision, your future self, and really what needs to be true. And so they're giving me their goals now, and they're still pretty vague. I'm like, literally go nuts with it. And one of my girls, Deneen, I don't know if she's watching right now. She's like 40,000 a month. You told me to 10X it. I was like, holy shit. Like I have to now help her get to 40K a month. But what vehicle do we take? Because she's a hairstylist. Can't she get to 40,000 a month? And I want profit, right? I want 40,000 in her bank account a month. I don't want just 40,000 in service sales. So what needs to be true about the vehicle she's taking to get the 40,000 a month. Is it possible to do it behind the chair? Yeah, it's possible. Like you could do 10K a week. But it's like, how difficult is it, or how easy is it in the vehicle she's currently in? And so for
Right.
me, it's like maybe there's some kind of mentorship coaching business. Like, is there something else she could do? Affiliate marketing. She's
Mhm.
super funny. Like, Denise has a great personality. And so maybe I have to bring her on my podcast and get her comfortable, and she can create some kind of content to sell this product or this shampoo. And if that goes viral through a TikTok, like a piece of content, and it's hooked up to my TikTok shop or my Instagram shop, she could potentially make that money right there.
Right. I know
Yeah.
exactly. So it sounds to me like, okay, well, so number one,
Mhm.
it sounds to me like you are setting goals that you need to have it scare you a little bit. Like, and that's something recently that I've been really diving into also, because I know that I've been really playing it safe. I'm setting goals for myself. So I relate to you on this
Mhm.
level. So you're setting a goal that's like it's something that almost kind of like you have to play the game very differently in order
Yeah.
to achieve it. But you're also trying to pass it off to the rest of your community because you want to elevate and have the community rise up with you too,
Yeah.
which is genius. I mean, I think that overflow, I mean, that makes so much sense. When you're doing this process though, when you're like putting
Mhm.
this together, how are you trying to frame it differently than the way you had been doing it? Because I know that you said that you have to do things differently.
Yeah. I literally, like, before it would be like, all right, cool. Here's my attainable goal. I'm going to do this in order to get here. I have to do this, this, and this. And then what do I have to eliminate out of my life? And so, like, I have the salon, the coach, I have all these different things that I do. And so there's also different things that I participate in my personal life that I just can't do anymore. I have to learn how to say no. And so if it
Mhm.
doesn't align specifically with the outcome that I'm desiring to get, I don't do it. And so I have to ask myself before I do an activity, if does me doing this activity directly impact my ability or inability to get to this goal? And if it doesn't impact my ability to get there, it doesn't help me get there, I don't do it. And so
Right.
does it actually hurt my ability to get there? Like, am I thinking I need to go here, to go here, to go here? Is that what I need? But that may not be true. So
Mhm.
the quickest way to get from point A to point B obviously is a straight line. And us as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, we have the unique ability to make things so much more complex than they need to be. And so
That's a
I'm
good point.
going to simplify the
Yeah.
process. And honestly, when I probably said this on your podcast, but it was, what business do you think you're in? What business are you really in? And what business do you need to be in? As salon owners, we're in the recruiting business.
Yeah.
Like, you might think you own a hair salon, but if you don't have a steady pipeline of new stylists who wanting to work in your salon and a steady pipeline of new clients wanting to come sit down in the chair in that salon, you don't have a business. And so
Yeah.
half of that equation is having the right team and being able to keep a steady flow of new stylists coming onto that team. Because, every couple of years they might want to go to a suite, they want to open their own place up. There's things that happen. They move, they get pregnant. And so the the bottleneck or the main constraint, if you think of like the theory of constraints, is having enough stylists to produce an income to fulfill your financial goals. And so for me, I think if I can acquire 100 stylists and really conquer that feat in the most simplest way so I can articulate it and package it up and then do that, almost like what Alex Mosey did with Gym Launch, or create my own a portion of my program where I can package it and sell it. Now I have something like a framework that I can teach and sell, which will benefit everyone immensely, including myself. And
That's
so,
so smart.
yeah,
So I'm also curious a little bit more just like how you're framing your e-commerce because I know that that's something that's really I feel like it sets you apart from other stylists and it's actually more contemporary and up to speed with what other businesses are doing. I mean, do
yeah,
you feel like sometimes our industry, you said the word bottleneck, and I see our industry sometimes where we're almost kind of behind the eight ball a little bit.
yeah,
We're just not quite caught up to today's standard. So I feel like with you talking about e-commerce and just being able to diversify yourself, like the example you're using with one of your coaching clients, what have you found in this process when you're working with salon owners specifically that like they're just not caught up to today's understanding of how they can diversify without just using only their fingertips?
yeah, 100%. The fact people are in our industry love putting restrictions on themselves, and they like, no matter how artistic they are, they limit themselves with what other people tell them. So when I go to a brand and I'm like, hey, I need to sell this online, they're like, oh, you can't, it's diversion. No, I can. It's not diversion. I don't tell you, like, I don't let you tell me how I run my business. I tell you how I want to run my business. And if you're a brand that says you can't sell online, I don't sell your product. So first you have to take the power back. You are the salon. If these are professional products only sold in salons, like all these brands like to claim, why are they on Amazon? Well, they say, oh, we have to control the pricing, so we go on Amazon. Okay, then raise your prices on Amazon. So it's 20% above MSRP. Specifically, you control the listings, you control the cost on Amazon. And now you allow salons like myself to have their own e-commerce store and provide that e-commerce service to its clients and future clients. And so you just have to have the hard conversations with the brands and understand that you have the power. And it's totally up to you to think like a business doing business in 2024, almost 2025 at the time of this podcast. So what does that mean? Well, you have to market yourself, right? There's Facebook, there's Google. And so for me, people are Googling hair products more than haircuts, right? They're watching influencers. They want to research the best product for hair loss, the best volumizing mousse, the best serum, whatever the product is. Well, why don't I position myself by advertising my products within a 7-mile radius around my salon? So I'm going to run a Performance Max campaign or a shopping campaign specifically towards the products in my online catalog so I can reach people who can actually come to my salon and get their hair done. So I'll double down on the ad spend. I'll do $1,000 a day and just advertise to get local visibility. Now, when you purchase a product, like let's say you buy this shampoo, that's a shampoo, it might cost me $12 to acquire you as a customer. And so the profit on that product might be 12 bucks. It's a net zero, right? I'm making my margin back by selling you the product.
Right.
So what does that do for me? It enables me now to retarget you at a lower cost because the amount of money it costs to advertise to acquire you as a customer is more expensive than it is to get you back again. But I don't get you back again just selling you the shampoo. I try and get you back in my salon. So the lifetime value as a customer and the average order value gets increased and the customer
Mhm.
acquisition cost gets decreased. I know these are like big terms for a lot of people watching, but what I essentially do is I don't mind breaking even on my products to get you in my salon. So the profit I make on the shampoo, I retarget to you again to get you in my salon. So I can out market any of my competition in my salon's area because I have e-commerce set up online. So not only do I profit from the shampoo and the products and get you on a recurring shipping cycle, but now you become interested in my salon because I chase you around the internet, retargeting to you, and I email market to you, and I send you a postcard to your house, and I might even hand deliver it to you if you're down the street.
Okay, so biggest objectives I think that people place in front of you, aside from using the word diversion, which is
Yeah.
not that's completely different than diversion, but so it sounds like that barrier to entry, there's a misunderstanding, I guess, or a misalignment with the word diversion versus what it would be to be an active distributor. What are some other things that kind of get in the way of people moving forward on that, or what are some of
Inventory.
the
Yeah.
fears?
How do I pack orders? What do we do?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
hold the inventory? How do you ship it out? Your front desk, right, isn't doing much sometimes. So have them pack the orders. Any hourly employee that's on your payroll, like just add it to their job description. If there's downtime in the salon, they could pack orders. Like, and here's the fun part. If it's local, like local delivery, the stylist who's trying to build up could add a postcard with a QR code linked to a video of them using the product to give to that person. So now when you get the product in the box, they scan the QR code and it's Jen. Hi, thanks for purchasing this product. Here's how you use it. Here's my top 3 uses of this volumizing mousse. And guess what they're going to do? Probably go to Jen. And so you're just creating an environment for your team to thrive. And so you don't necessarily have to pay your stylist to do that. Like they're marketing themselves, but your front desk person can do that. Your assistants can do it. Now, stocking inventory is a huge complaint I have from a lot of different people. Like they think it's really overwhelming. But when you buy an intro deal, you have products that are sitting on the shelf doing nothing. So why not just market them to your audience online? And you could probably get rid of a lot of the inventory. But the beauty of it is, if you have a good distributor and you're near a Cosmo or a Salon Centric, all you need to do is when the purchase order comes in, you just go order the product or you buy it. You don't need to have it in stock. And so I built up my whole inventory by doing it that way. I'm also working on something for anyone specifically in my network who I help build a Shopify store for. I'm creating software that links to my distributors' feeds. So whatever distributor you use, with the exception of Salon Centric and probably Cosmo, but any small family-owned distributor, I'm going to create a feed that links to their inventory that plugs right into your Shopify store. So there's never a delay in shipping or products because you're going to have access to your distributor's feed real time. And so I'm creating this massive network to compete with the L'Oreals of the world and the Cosmos of the world.
Mm,
And so I'm going to
mhm.
give the salons a chance to compete, the distributors a chance to compete, and I'm going to connect all the dots for everyone in the industry.
So you did mention something that
Mhm.
I hear a lot from small business owners, especially like suite environments
Mhm.
or even just boutique salons, with the whole stocking portion.
Yeah.
What has been the best way that they have found around that if they don't have the space to stock?
What I just said, like move the products when they buy. Like as somebody
Okay,
buys, you
got
order the
it.
product and you ship it out. That's the only way to really do it, unless you use a portion of your house to do it. But having the
Yeah.
online store gives you access to all your distributors' inventory. So you don't need to have it in the salon. Here's the deal. I think Ted Gibson doesn't even have products in the salon. For those of you who don't know who Ted Gibson is, he's like a celebrity stylist. He charges like $2,600 a haircut. He directs his customers to Amazon. Mind-boggling to me. But he has an affiliate link, and that's what he does. Why don't you just direct them to your own Shopify store? And so your clients can either do in-salon pickup when it arrives, or you just ship it to their house. So you could do a reoccurring shipping type of deal where every 6 weeks or 12 weeks they get their shampoo and you make the margin on it rather than getting only 8% from Amazon.
Yeah. So for recurring shipping, Nick, do you use a third party like for Dropbox? Do you do anything like that?
I
Or do
use
you
my own app.
personally
I
do it?
personally do it. So I have an app that's built in. The order comes in, it charges a credit card, and then we get the order like it's real time.
And you were saying you're doing within 7 mile radius, which is really smart because then you can be the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah. So I run a couple different Google campaigns. I took a break from Meta, and this whole year I just focused on getting my Google back to where it should have been because they changed a lot of the iOS restrictions and retargeting. So I run a new client campaign just to acquire new clients nationally. I run a new client campaign just in the 7 mile radius. Then I run a retargeting campaign for any existing customers, anyone who's been to my site and added to a cart on both of those. And then I run a standalone shopping campaign for any of the products that don't get visibility. I take them out of my other campaigns and put them in a standalone shopping campaign. And so it's like this is all foreign language, but if you want to be competitive in the marketplace and be a business owner, it's time to play business and not hairdresser anymore. And so
Yeah.
you have to just learn it. Like you have to learn a language about marketing. You have to understand how Google works. Then you master that. You hire someone to replace you in that role, and then you figure out Meta. Then you hire someone to replace you in that role, and then you manage the two people who manage the multiple campaigns.
Okay. I want to kind of
It's
segue
very, very simple.
into I want to segue into those who kind of are doing opposing to what you're saying. And Nick, you're better about this than I am.
Yeah.
Like, I always try to play it safe, and I'm like in the neutral zone, and I aspire to be like you, who you have a strong opinion, you have a voice, you are fine with people not liking you. As a matter of fact, you welcome people to not like you because then it gets you more into
Yeah.
the people who do like you. Like you're very smart that way, super savvy with business. And for me, I'm always like, let's just tiptoe around this. We'll just stay in the neutral zone. We'll play it safe, which is it's not smart for business to play it safe. And I can echo that to any of you guys who are listening to this and feeling like, that's not really for me. That's not really for me. But it's like finding out what really is for you is what lets you leverage your business and lets you grow outside of your business and actually lets you move into other portions of your business. Have no longer have a glass ceiling. So I want to ask you, Nick.
Yeah.
For the coaches that are out there that are giving advice to not stock anything in your space, to not pre-book your clients, all the things that are kind of disrupting, some of the conventional parts of running a sustainable business. What do you have to say?
Yeah.
What do you have to say for that?
Love the question. For any of those coaches out there who give that information, how well did it work for you? How much money did you make? I'm willing to bet that I make more money than you behind the chair as a stylist. And so if you made more money than me and you were able to generate more of an income and make more clients happy, then prove it to me. Or did you get into coaching because you were burnt out because you didn't have the bandwidth to actually do clientele? And now you came up with this funky strategy that you think would work, but it's only based on theory. So the reason why I speak so passionately is because I got my teeth kicked in before. I've gotten my ass handed to me in this industry, and I know what works and what doesn't work. And so I've done it. Like I put the time in. And so to me, pre-booking your clients is essential. Stocking inventory to have the product here to sell it is essential. And why aren't you stocking inventory? Because you can't sell it? Because you're tying up too much cash flow in inventory? Okay. So what needs to be true about how you sell the product to people? Just because you can't sell product doesn't mean you shouldn't stock product. Learn how to fix the problem by selling the product. And so I feel like they create these different techniques and theories based on their weaknesses as business owners, and then they drag other people into their world because they don't have the capability of being a better business person. So you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and they just don't have a good system in place, right, to sell the retail.
Yeah.
Just something I actually taught today in my coaching call was the theory of constraints. So Google the theory of constraints. Typically, you have a constraint in your business, right? There's a problem, bottleneck. And if it's like you have too much inventory, well, let's take a look at the problem. Did you buy too much inventory? Why did you buy too much inventory? Was it on sale? Will it pay off in the long run? Or do you have too much inventory because you can't sell it? Like, what's your process for selling the inventory for the inventory? And maybe you should fix that process because it's not don't eliminate the inventory. That's not going to solve the problem.
Right.
Fix the problem you have with selling the inventory. The whole retail space blows my mind. For anyone watching this right now, if you own a suite and you don't sell products in your suite, you're doing yourself a big disservice. See, when you worked in a salon before the suite, you might have got like a 10 or 20% max commission on the product. So on a $20 bottle of shampoo, it's $2. But now you're making $10 profit on that. So it's important that you understand the numbers and the margin and how that works. And your clients are in a buying zone. Like when they come get their hair done, they're in the mood to buy. They're paying for their hair. You don't want to put on less. You want to be like, hey, you're in the mood to buy. You're going to pay more. It's like the upsell at a checkout. Like if you want to get free shipping when you're checking out, everyone does it when they buy shoes, clothes, and everything online. You're like, oh shit, let me just add on this extra thing. Let me add on the belt. And so you spend more to get the free shipping. And so you have to understand the psychology of someone who's buying. They're in the mood to spend money right now. So make sure you sell them the product to give the insurance on the color that they just paid money for. And if it truly works, then sell it to them. If it doesn't work, stop selling that product. Make sure you get behind a brand and you sell a brand that you believe in. And then it makes it very easy for you to pass that on to your clients because they need that product.
A couple things you said there that
Yeah.
I feel like I just have to reiterate.
Please.
Like the last thing that you said, make sure you believe in what you're selling. Because I think sometimes, like, if you don't know enough about the product or you don't actually use it, but you got it on sale, like the thing that you said, or you don't know enough about it, like what makes it so distinct? Why are you so passionate about it? Why did you choose of all the several hundred different types of products you could have chosen? Why did you choose this one specifically? And the more you know about it, the easier it is for you to sell because it doesn't feel like selling, like you are using that because it is your right-hand man when you can't service that client. So I think that's big. The second thing that you said that is really important that I think that for those of you guys listening, remember that if you are only supporting affiliate links through third parties and you're using that as your source of your retail option, you're already capped out. Like you can only make the 10, 15, 20% what that is. But if you hold your own, you get to decide what your markup is for that. And even if you put it on sale, you still can make your money back. So
Yeah.
I think that's important to think about. Like it gives you an option for an added source of income, but it lets you be in the driver's seat of it.
Yeah. People are like, oh, they're going to order from Amazon. Yeah. Amazon next day delivery, they get second delivery. Like they get it in their hand right then and there. There's no better delivery than that. If they're in your salon, put it in their hand, they can walk out with it. There is something
True.
to be said about getting a package delivered to your house. Like there's a book written by the guy who owns Zappos. He passed away a couple years ago. What's it called? Delivering Happiness. And it's a fun book to read. It's delivering happiness. So people like you get that Amazon box, right? The smiley face on it. Zappos. It's something about receiving a package at home. You're excited, right? It's like Christmas
It's so
time.
true.
And so don't you want to make your clients happy? Like, don't you want to give them that ability? So why not have a Shopify store? And let me just iterate what Shopify is. Shopify is not a third-party seller like Amazon or Walmart. Shopify is a website builder. So go to the warehousesalon.com. That's my website. It's built on Shopify. You could have an about me. You could have landing pages. It's a great way for you to build SEO. So you can have a landing page for highlights, one for extensions, one for haircuts, one for whatever service you provide in your salon. You could run events out of your salon, build landing pages for that. It's just a great tool to use. It's $59 a month for the basic platform, but the amount you get for SEO and the ability to scale that $59 a month is huge. And so now your client leaves with the product and you're like, hey, Barbara, you keep buying this product or coming in to pick it up in between hair services. Why don't we just ship it to you? Let's put you on auto ship every 8 weeks. And now what you're going to do is you're going to have, you know, 20,000 a month in reoccurring revenue just based off your retail. And guess what happens when you have that? You have a business. Now, when someone looks at your salon to purchase it, you're like, hey, we're doing 100,000 a month in service revenue. We're doing 20,000 a month in reoccurring shipping revenue. We're doing, 20,000 a month in reoccurring subscription for blowouts and single processes. You have a real business on your hands here. And now if you want to walk away and sell it, you can actually sell it. But most salons can't sell their business because there is no business without the owner. So you have to create a place that you enjoy working at, but you can make a profit from, even if you don't do hair. And so that's what a lot of owners have to understand. This business is super profitable if you take yourself out of the equation and build a business around the actual salon industry.
If we can get a fly from the sky, like a bird's eye view on your business, because I know that you have more than one salon. Can you tell us a little bit about how your day-to-day operates? Like, do you have specific days that you do shipping? Do you have specific employees that are in charge of that mostly? Like,
So I probably couldn't print an order right now. I probably forgot how to do it. So I have a team in charge of operations for that. I have a management team that handles the salons. So each location has its own individual manager that manages those teams. And I directly connect with them and we communicate. Now, each one of my managers for those salons are either equity partners or just managers. And so my day-to-day is managed by the day. So typically Monday is my coaching day. A lot of my coaching calls happen on Monday. And then Tuesday is my leadership day. And so any kind of leadership conversations or meetings or appointments happen on that day. Wednesday will be Shopify, e-commerce. So anything that has to do with e-commerce, I do that day. So I do my coaching calls for e-commerce that day because I coach salons on e-commerce as well. And then I'll take a look at that business directly and see how our ad campaign did. I'll just get some feedback and read the data. Thursday, I might redo. I could probably get my calendar out for you. Thursday will be, I should know that. I just changed it around. Will be coaching day. So I take a look at my coaching ads, take a look at my coaching, what's going on in that business, not just coaching, but the actual business of my knowledge-based business. And then Friday, I tour my salons. So I just jump around salons, make sure the salons themselves are doing well. And then Saturday is also another leadership day where I pop around my salons. I don't do much, to be honest. I do a lot of talking, but the physical labor of me doing hair, I don't do hair anymore. So I retired. And I don't spend time doing a $10 an hour task where I could hire someone to do that for me and use my creativity, my entrepreneur mindset to build the business and move it forward. But it took me a while to get there.
So for those who are actually listening that aspire to be like you someday, and I guess speaking more or less to the salon owner that is stuck behind the chair 5-6 days a week, just grinding away and not knowing how to dig out those little pockets of time that they can actually dedicate to this, what would you say to that person?
Great question. Saying no to your client behind the chair, saying yes to your team. So you have two sets of clients. You have your staff, and then you have your clients who do their hair, if you still do hair as a salon owner. So you have to learn how to say no to your clients, and you're not saying no to the money. It's really difficult to do. Have a day dedicated just to your team, leadership, so you can actually pour into them. You build the team, and the team builds the business. And then have a day dedicated just to admin. See, when I say control or managing your energy, it's too hard to manage your time throughout a day if you're doing multiple tasks. Like you start in the morning, let's say you're going to do a few clients, and at 12, you do your one-on-ones. But guess what happens? Your client ran late. The foils took too long. They didn't process fast enough. So you're backed up with that. Your toner didn't take. You got to retone somebody. And now it's 2:00 and you missed your 1:00 meeting. And so you have to manage your energy, and the energy needs to be dedicated just towards management that day, just towards leadership this day. And if you're a hairdresser or a stylist by the hair, just do hair that day. Don't try and do one-on-one meetings in between clients. You're not going to really have the flow you need. So manage that flow, manage that energy. That's super important. Next thing is understand how to lead a team and how to replace yourself. So take a look at something called the replacement ladder. Dan Martell coaches on this too. He's a great person to check out. But take away your admin task. So basically, are you booking appointments still? Replace that. Hire someone from either Upwork or a front desk person, or have an assistant do both for you. Have them manage your inbox, which is managing your emails, your text messages, and your phone. If you're in a suite and you do all the things, bring on an assistant to handle that for you. The last thing you want to do when you're done with work is wash the bowls, go home, and now address 50 emails and texts and DMs. It's exhausting. Just have someone do it while you're working.
So true.
It's
Yeah.
just
Great advice.
replacement ladder. Replace, and then the next thing is if you're doing payroll, replace that. Replace all the things that don't excite you anymore, and just do the things that excite you. That's it.
And just even speaking to the time value that you're going to be putting in for income.
Yeah.
If you said it yourself, like if you can replace yourself with that $10 task,
Yeah.
make sure that you're passing those things off to somebody that can do that for you,
And-
so that you can continue to grow up
Yes.
in your business.
So if you love doing hair and you hate running the business, well, then you keep doing hair and you pay someone to run the business for you. You still have to
Yes.
communicate with them. But if you just have a passion for doing hair, but you hate working on all the salons because you have a particular vision, then build a team around you. Very simple. And don't hire someone and do their job for them. If you're paying someone to do the marketing for you, pay them to do the marketing for you. And if they're asking
That's a good
you
one.
for advice, then they're not the right person. So if
Yeah.
you hire your sister-in-law or your niece to do the marketing and you're spending more time trying to teach them how to do it, that's not helping you out. It's not. Tell them to go figure it out. So it's something I teach called the 1-3-1 rule. I'll just give you guys that. So what's the one problem, like the real problem? Because people will come to you with like 15 different ideas. Like, hey, this could be an issue, that could be an issue, this could be an issue. No. What's the one thing that if we solve, we'll fix 80% of this issue? Cool. What are 3 possible solutions to solve that one problem? And out of those 3, which is the best option to take right now or to do? Cool. Go do that. And then once you teach them how to think for themselves, then you're done. They go figure it out themselves.
That's a great way to work around an overwhelm, because I think
Yeah.
that's probably one of the biggest things that gets in people's way, is that they say, I just get overwhelmed. I don't know where to start, and then it's easy to avoid that task, or they lean too much into perfectionism, and perfectionism ends up being a barrier for them to be able to move through that. So for those who are not good about time blocking, who are not good about finding time to do those things, or even just like the mental capacity, you were speaking to that a second ago, where I think some people don't see the potential in themselves, or they're scared to give up the money because they think that they're going to go backwards. Like that's the biggest fear.
Yeah.
What do you say to those people that have that mental barrier, I suppose?
Hey, what's your goal? Right? And what needs to be true in your life in order to make that a reality? Like, what's the negative belief around being, that type of owner? What's the limited belief around yourself? Like if you're like, oh, if I stop doing hair, then I won't make as much money. Okay, well, what needs to be true about your business in order for you to stop doing hair? And can you make that happen if you're still doing hair behind the chair? Probably not, because you don't have enough bandwidth to do it. So maybe what needs to be true is, okay, I need to have 3 months or 6 months of income saved to be my cushion. So let me go save 10 grand or 12 grand that stays in an account. So if I can't replace my income right away by hiring 2 or 3 more people or passing my clients off, I know I'm secure. So in the back of your mind, that's something that needs to be true. Go make that happen. Now you can step away from behind the chair because you got your bills paid. Then you focus on the next part you have to focus on. So it's just a matter of asking yourself exactly who are you and what is it that you want. If you're completely happy and content doing hair 5 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, then you're cool. But if you have big goals and you want $1 million a year and you want to really create legacy for your family, well, the person you are right now is way different than the person you need to be who has that reality. So who is that person? What's their self-talk? Who do they hang out with? What are the actions they take? What's their day-to-day activities look like? So are you now restricting yourself from having $1 million salon because you want to make 100 grand a year behind the chair? Does that make any sense? No. So
Yeah,
get the skills you
true.
need to have $1 million salon.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you said it yourself. I think just being in the place where you are today, if you have a goal to be somewhere else, that means that you have to be someone else.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to actually do things differently.
I love
So
that.
it means that everything that you know that you've created that exists today, you have to basically unpack it and rebuild. And
Yeah.
that means that you have to be willing to be vulnerable, that you have to be willing to not know the unknown, and to lean on people that can help you with that. I feel like that kind of circles us right back actually to the question about mentorship. And you were saying something along the lines of show me your receipts. So
Yeah.
if somebody is making a claim that this is the way that you should do something, and I do have a strong opinion about the shoulds and shouldn'ts,
Yeah.
but if somebody were to seek mentorship or seek counsel or have a coaching, what would you say to them? Like, look for this, ask for this before you push that purchase button.
Do you have the life that you want? I'm big into discipline and physical, I should say physical appearance. But if you truly care about yourself, right, you have discipline. Typically, the way somebody shows up for themselves, going to the gym, being in shape, having good hair, having good skin. Like, we're in the beauty business, right? So you want to make sure that you're showing up. Like, we're showing up as hairstylists. We're professional. We're beauty professionals. So
how they are is who they are.
yes. So do you have discipline? Do they post consistently? Do they add value with their posts? You can hear in their post if it's authentic or not, if they're passionate or not, if they know what they're talking about or not. And then take a look at their track record. Are they consistent? Where were they 2 years ago? How much growth did you see them have? And for me, I don't ever, like, there's a lot of programs out there. I'm not going to drop names right now. They give you the system of this is how you need to do it. My system's very flexible. Like, if it works, use it. If it doesn't, discard it. Like, it's not one size fits all. These are systems that are very pliable. And so if only a piece of the system works for you, then let's use it. Let's take a look at your specific needs for your goals. Everybody has different goals, and there's not one vehicle to get you there. There's a bunch of different vehicles to take. Let me find the right vehicle for you, because I've done a lot of them, and then I'll help you figure it out. So essentially, I'm more of a problem solver than I am like a specific standard set way of how to do things. All right, cool. If that doesn't work for you, let's change it. I don't really care. And by me changing it to help fit you, I might learn a whole new way. So you got to be flexible. You got to be like water. Like, I love Bruce Lee. And he had a quote, be like water, right? You put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. You put it into a cup, it becomes the cup. It can crash, it can destroy land, or it can give life. Like, so just be fluid. And plus, it's not that serious. Like, it really isn't that, like, if you fail, who cares? In 100 years, no one's going to know who you are.
It's so true. I know. My husband and I talk
Yeah.
about that all the time, actually.
Like, I don't take
It's
things
very
so
true.
seriously. Yeah,
But it's also freeing.
it
when you
is.
start looking at things more from that landscape.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be dead in 100 years or less, probably less. So if I make a mistake, cool. I pick myself up, I learn from it, and I keep on moving. And that mistake, like, think of the sticky note, the Post-it notes for you guys. You know, that was a big mistake. Like, the Post-it note, the sticky note. I don't have any on my desk right now. Like, you write.
A mistake the way it was made.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a super adhesive glue, like crazy glue, and it was a big failure. Well, guess what? That big failure is super profitable. And had they took that failure and was like, oh, it sucks, didn't work. What can this work for? So what did I learn from this mistake? And where can I make this work in my life? And so honestly, I took all my mistakes that I did and I had happen to me in my life. I was like, shit, if I can teach people how not to make these mistakes, well, then I can really help them with business. And so by learning what not to do, I'm learning what to do. And so that's how I formed my businesses and my structures and my systems. And I'm always learning from different industries. So you could learn from any industry. How does it apply to the hair industry? How do I take that hot dog truck down the street, or the donut shop at the corner? What are they doing for marketing? How are they so busy? How are they becoming oversubscribed? Like, how do they sell out of donuts or sell out of hot dogs? Or why is there always a line there? What is it that they're doing that I can implement in my business and learn from everyone? Everyone can teach you.
I I love that. I feel like that is like the biggest takeaway that I hope most people are listening in on, is that in order to be who you want to be, you need to surround yourself
Mhm.
with other people who are like what you want to be. And it doesn't have to be in this industry. You can learn a lot outside of this industry if you just lean into it. And I think also just like even talking about like your legacy that you want to leave behind, having that bigger goal picture in mind rather than what you've been doing, I think that is also really freeing, and it allows people to be more creative within their business, which feeds back into the passion, and is what turns it into a more sustainable business.
Yeah.
So, words of wisdom here. I love these kind of conversations with you, Nick.
Yeah.
I love how passionate you are about it, and I also love that you have a no BS way of approaching it, and just being like, there's no shoulds and shouldn'ts. It's just what works for you, and what do you really want out of this. I think sometimes people they want to avoid that fear so much that they don't even ask themselves, what do I actually really want?
You know what's funny is it made me think of this. People who are afraid to fail, you didn't fail yet.
Yeah,
Like people who
yes.
like really successful people, they fail and they fail big.
Mhm.
They don't care anymore. Like Jeff Bezos had a $650 million mistake with the Fire Phone. He didn't give a shit. Had he let that define who he is, he wouldn't have the success that he has today. He wouldn't keep on ongoing with his successful ventures and what he does. And you look at guys like Alex Ramosi. He went like borderline bankrupt twice, went to zero a couple times. He's a genius when it comes to business. Like
Yeah.
there's so much failure that happens. It's not a big deal. It doesn't make a difference. And you're like, just keep on going. Nobody
Keep on
cares that you failed. Trust me.
Yeah.
If you get to the top and you don't have any failures, I'm skeptical. Yeah.
That's called a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. It's like, how did you like it? Just you only learn from your mistakes. You learn from the mistakes of others, which is why mentorship's important. But for people who are thinking to themselves, oh my God, that course is expensive, or I don't want to invest the money into this program. Let me ask you a question. Do you know the ignorance tax? Right? A lot of people may not know this. If your true potential is $200,000 a year as a hairstylist, and you're currently making $50,000 a year, and there's a gap between 50,000 and 200,000, that's a $150,000 gap. You're willing to not spend $1,000 on a course or a program or a coach to miss out on the opportunity to make an extra $150,000 this year. That's ignorant. That's called the ignorant tax. And for every year that you decide not to take the program or learn the skills, guess what? This year it's 150, next year it's 300, the year after that is 450, and that keeps on compounding. So ask yourself, what's your true potential? What are you making now? The difference between what you're making now and what you could be making, that's how much that course is costing you by not investing the $1,000 or $500 or whatever the cost is for that program.
So true. It makes me think of that old saying that my dad says, stepping over a dollar to pick up a dime.
Yep.
It's like, what are you leaving on the table? What is it that you're giving up in order just to do the thing
Yeah.
that you can only see now? Like
Yeah.
you have to allow the possibility of what you can't yet
Yeah.
see so that you can actually realize that next stage. So good. You know, it's funny too, because like even you using your example, it made me think of like a couple of like, if we relate it to our industry specifically, I think of a couple of people that made some massive mistakes that turned into a major viral, trendy hairstyle. The stylist who did one of the artists from Salt and Pepper, they did, remember Salt and Pepper?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Basically, they did a relaxer and half the hair melted off. So she had this major asymmetrical cut. And it became sensationalized. Like everyone was asking for that cut, but it was really
It was a
like
mistake.
half the hair melted.
Do you remember Calissa Flockhart? I think it was her back in the day. She had the short bangs back in the 90s. It could be,
Oh, yes.
it was like them really choppy short bangs, I think was
Yeah,
breakage.
the baby bangs.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
brutal. And it came and went right away.
Yeah.
But I think that was a mistake too. And it picked up steam.
Yeah,
But-
totally. Same with Victoria Beckham. You know, unfortunately, the lightning just ended up melting off the front.
Oh, really?
They popped in some little minis, little extensions, and then that A-line, that asymmetrical haircut, just like it just blew up.
I remember that.
Everyone wanted that cut, but it was like the front pieces were all extensions. It was the rest was melted. So, anyway, that just attributes to what you were just saying. Failure can lead to massive success,
Yeah.
but you have to try pushing the envelope. You know, take some risk in your business because what do you have to lose?
Yep. Ask yourself questions. What is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this? how can I make this not a failure? Like, what can I really take away from this and flip it? And then for people who are like, just always like seeking more knowledge and more knowledge, and like for the opposite of the people skeptical of programs, what are you pretending not to know that you already know? And I love that line. Like, you know the answer. Like, you know you should get the education, or you should do the X, Y, and Z thing, or you should take the leap. But what are you pretending not to know that you already know? Ask yourself that question, because you pretty much know everything that you need to know, or at least how to get that information. Like when I talked, did you Google it yet? No. Did you go to ChatGPT? No. Well, then why are you asking me the question? Do some research, try and figure it out on your own, like really exercise that part of your brain to problem solve. And then you're going to be just a better version of yourself, because you don't need anyone else to hold your hand anymore. And I think that's what my strength was. So, like, I always had childlike curiosity to always just figure it out on my own. Like, don't look at the instructions, look at the pieces of the puzzle or the thing I'm putting together. How does this go together? And then it's like, all right, if I need to go fast, I get the instructions, right? If I want to really learn how to problem solve and see how the thing works, I put it together without the instructions.
I love
And
that. I love that.
yeah,
Childlike curiosity too. That's curiosity is a big word for me this year. Like I want to always remain curious. And the minute that you think you know how something works is the minute that you start stunting your growth.
yeah,
Because you've done it already. Now it's time to try something else out.
Yeah.
So I love that word, just like focusing on that childlike curiosity. Nick, I can't thank you enough for being on here again. And
no, thanks for
I
having
feel
me.
like we could probably continue to have this conversation
Yeah.
going. But I'd love to pass on. I'm probably just going to be linking your website down below. But if
Yep.
there's anything else, if you want to let people know where to find out more and how they can work with you.
Yeah, Nick Mirabella, NickMirabella.com, and then on Instagram at Nick Mirabella. So
And of course, I'll
Yeah.
link all that below too
But yeah,
as well.
thank you.
And if you wanted to ask if anyone has questions that you want to like open that up to, happy to do that as well. But I could always end this recording and we can just jump into
Yeah,
that
no, we're good.
Q&A.
Yeah, we'll jump on the Q&A later. I have a call at 1:30. I'm hopping on.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay, good.
But any questions,
Awesome.
James, you screenshot them or get them, we'll answer them, or tell them to answer them, ask them the Q&A. Or is there a comment section on this podcast?
There will be on YouTube. Yes, on the YouTube
All right.
portion, unless people want to like leave
Yeah.
a review with a
So
question.
go to
it's not
go to
possible.
her YouTube section or YouTube channel where this is gonna be posted. If you guys are watching right now or listening on a podcast, jump to the YouTube of her channel, and then ask the question right there. I'll make sure I jump on and answer them.
Oh, that would be great.
Cool.
That would be really fun. We can
Awesome.
even do a follow-up thing if you want to. Also, we can do like a live on Instagram.
Yeah, that'd be
And
fun.
we can answer the questions there.
Love that idea.
So ask whatever question you may have, as ridiculous as it may seem at this time.
Mhm.
I promise you, if you ask a question, there's going to be a line of people behind you that have the exact same question. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid. Ask the question. We'll answer it in a live on Instagram at some point.
Yeah.
And Nick, thank you so much. I want to continue to encourage you guys to dream big, set goals, take actions. Let's do this. And
Yeah.
we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. All right. Well, have a
Recording
glorious
stopped.
rest of your day.
Yes.
I wish you luck and all
You
the
too.
happiness.